Hi, I'm Carrie Blazer, mother, shaman, and recently published author of My Inner Heroine, Exploring Feminine Pain. In my book, I share all my trials and tribulations of how I went from a suicide attempt to embracing my shamanic gifts to experiencing enlightenment multiple times. And that whole process was helped by several men in my life whom I call my heroes. They include Justin Waller and Andrew Tate. They are best friends. Two Fire Academy instructors, all leading me back to my guy from my childhood, who is former FBI Assistant Special Agent in charge, currently the head of global security at GoDaddy, and his initials are JC. My birthday is June 25th, directly opposite of December 25th. My middle name is May, and May in Catholicism celebrates Jesus, Mary's mom, and middle name is often honor family members. And if you read the Gospel of Mary and other texts 2,000 years ago, not generally included in Christian doctrine, Jesus, Mary's mom, was very close to Mary Magdalene. And those are just a few of the signs and synchronicities that my soul is the same soul as Mary Magdalene. Another one just came through on what I did on September 14th, which was inspired by Charlie Kirk's assassination. My soul is the same soul as Mary Magdalene. And right now I'm processing a lot of emotional pain around Jesus' execution on the cross, evidenced by my first 4 videos being shot on September 14th. Exaltation of the Holy Cross in Christianity, but I didn't know that. I've never practiced Christianity. I mean, a little here and there, but I have a master's degree in East Asian religious studies, not Western religious studies. I speak Chinese. I translated 12th century Taoist text into Chinese and from classical Chinese into English, which resonates with Mary Magdalene's soul because she went to southern France and worked with the and the Cathars were established based on her teachings of self-love, which included spiritual enlightenment being an emotion like love. So I didn't know. I found out the day on September 15th that September 14th is the day they celebrate finding what they think is the actual cross that Jesus was killed on. So then I came out fucking swinging. I'm like, no, we're not celebrating where you killed a man because you failed to understand the teachings. He was killed due to wounds, not for other people's sins. He can't magically transform your soul. And why would you want him to? Don't you want to know how to operate your own soul? And that's what all early Christianity was about, teaching people how to love themselves, how to operate your own soul. Why? Because our bodies are also a reflection of our souls. Like cancer, they've proven that most people with cancer are people pleasers. They don't take care of themselves. They overgive to everybody else and undergive to themselves. I'm quoting Dr. Gabor Mate, who's a family medicine practitioner who specializes in how childhood trauma impacts adults, and this is one way. Well, we are not guided and taught how to love ourselves as children, how to move through our emotional pains, how to learn how to surf the waves of life and move through the shame, the guilt, and the fear upwards towards the love, the compassion, the enlightenment like a healthy person. Then we just hang on to the shame, the guilt, and the fear, and then we're just in the valley the whole time and don't know what the fuck to do. That was my life. I mean, I barely remember my childhood. I had so much trauma, which makes sense now based on what I've been shown. But, Charlie's death, his willingness to be so courageous and brave and have so much valor to keep getting out there, he had death threats all the time. Of course he knew it was dangerous. Few people are smarter than Charlie Kirk, more spiritually aware than Charlie Kirk and his wife. So, I felt safe to come out 4 days later. 4 days later. I remember in June, I remember, did Jesus have a wife? I didn't remember the Da Vinci Code. I remember, kind of a little bit, but I hadn't watched it yet. I watched it today, September 16th, 2025. First time I watched it since around the time it came out. I haven't watched it forever. But it made a lot of sense based on what I learned. But Rapture is a lot like Rupture. And in the fall of 2024, when I reached out to JC and his soul opened to me, I started facing my fears of being raped. I had a hysterical pregnancy. I mean, it was gnarly. I was in and out of enlightenment. It was gnarly. Okay. And in the last fight, when I'm screaming at his soul in my condo alone, right? When I felt his soul reach peak kind of frustration or anger, I moved more energy quickly to protect my daughters, and the lights went out in Ventura and the whole city. The electricity went out in Ventura and the whole city. I say Mother Earth, right? All that energy come out from the center of Mother Earth is disruptive. Rapture. I do not know what's coming, but I will protect my man. He's not dying this time. If he's married, he's still not dying this time, because we have work to do on the planet. And to make my point, I'll do what's necessary, but I don't know what's coming. So, as I spoke about in my last video, male fantasies of violence manifest when men are not consumed with manifesting female fantasies of safety and security. So I'm safe now with his FBI internet security. I helped 2 fire academy instructors locally. I've helped key men. The fire academy instructors, one is 6'7", one is 6'4". I've helped Justin Waller, Andrew Tate. I've helped key individuals, other people too online who, I enjoy remaining behind the scenes, I know. But nonetheless, I know protect me and are my friends. So I know I'm safe. So I'm going to speak from my heart. And the imbalance between men and women is what the rupture is for, is to remind everyone what's important. And if you remember with the tsunamis, if you watch the videos, people celebrated themselves that they had an opportunity to show up for each other in ways they hadn't before, that they had forgotten about community because they were so consumed with how much money their businesses were making and how many tourists were there, and the tsunami in Thailand. But after the tsunami came, actually on an island, there was a nurse I saw and a doctor, and the way they worked together, they felt like the love that came out of their hearts was so immense. But why? But they needed an opportunity for it to come out of their hearts. So rupture is necessary. Rapture is necessary for repair. And we are in the time of self-healing. So self-healing only happens because of the rupture. And Rumi, the wise mystic from the 13th century, he said, you have to break your heart to open your heart. The wound is where the light enters for healing purposes. Same thing. You have to rupture to repair. Rupture, rapture. Close enough for me. So I have to imagine that some kind of ruptures are coming, whatever they may be. And it's not that I have, supernatural powers to control the world, but my soul is that influential to do things. I don't know what's going to happen, but it just comes out of my soul. I don't know what to say. But, we all need to realign ourselves and remember that a healthy nuclear family proven by science is the bedrock of a stable society. One man, multiple women like we have now. That's unsustainable, as we're seeing with 20 years from population collapse. We need healthy boundaries around our countries. We need to figure out this is us and this is what we're responsible for. How do we create healthy nuclear families inside of America? How does Canada create healthy nuclear families inside of Canada? So on and so forth. We have to start at home. Like in my book, I have something called the love hierarchy. And it says that self-love comes first, because when I have a full cup of love in my heart, an overflowing cup of love, then and only then do I have extra love to share with other people. But when I don't have an overflowing cup of love in my heart, I pour from lack. I pour from shame and guilt and fear. And that's when you're a transphobe and you're a misogynist and the shooting comes out. When I don't love myself, that's when the violence comes out. When I don't love myself. Violence like the Charlie Kirk shooting. A man protecting his family inside his home is a different kind of shooting than what happened to Charlie Kirk. So I'm putting all this energy out there as people start resonating with heaven is created on earth inside of each of our hearts. Jesus is not coming to save us. We will save ourselves and be better for it. Free giveaways, like with the Black community, they started giving the women money in the 60s when they had kids out of wedlock. And right now, 75% of the community has kids out of wedlock. And how much challenge they're having right now. We need work to do well and be proud of ourselves and have a feast to celebrate. Like Thanksgiving came and we celebrated the feast that we had grown all this food and been so prosperous. We were prosperous enough to be able to create a feast. And now we just expect the feast. So we expect behavior as opposed to earning behavior. And I know Charlie Kirk, his favorite word was earn. When I heard that, I understood it. I have earned an opportunity to speak to JC again. And he's earning an opportunity to speak to me because we're that important to each other. And we haven't spoken yet because we wouldn't have been successful. Had too much trauma that I hadn't unearthed yet for it to be successful. So I'll speak to him when it's time. So please remember, our souls have a plan for our growth. And now is a time for self-healing. So love yourselves. Charlie certainly did. Loved his wife, loved his kids. And start with self-love. Then move on to spouse love, child love, family love, community love, country love. But start with the self. And if you find God in your heart, then love God in your heart. Okay? Love Jesus in your heart. But go into love and then let come out of you in prayer and in relationships and in healthy giving. Not over giving. If you don't have shoes to wear yourself, don't give shoes to somebody else. I know you know what I'm talking about. Okay? Please create heaven on earth with me together. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. Help grow my channel.